Welcome to It Is Important, an English learning podcast where we also discuss things that matter. So, learn English, speak English, live English. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said yes to something at work when every part of you wanted to say no? You took on the extra project. You smiled through feedback that wasn't fair. You stayed quiet in the meeting when you completely disagreed. And then you went home frustrated, not at them, at yourself. Today, we're talking about why that happens, what it's costing you, and how to speak up without blowing up your career. I'm Envy, and welcome to the very first episode of our new podcast, It Is Important, real conversations about the things that matter in our lives. Today's topic, say it like you mean it, finding your voice at work without fear. My guest today is Sara. She's a marketing manager with 8 years of experience, and 6 months ago, she almost quit her job because of one conversation she didn't know how to have. Sara, welcome.
Thanks for having me, and yes, that's a very accurate summary of my life.
So let's start there. What was happening at work?
So I had this situation where my director kept adding things to my plate, and I kept saying, sure, no problem, I'll handle it. But I was completely overwhelmed. I wasn't sleeping. My actual work was suffering.
And why didn't you just say no?
Because just say no is terrible advice. I was scared. I thought, if I say no, he'll think I can't handle the job, or I'm not a team player, or worse, that I'm difficult.
So you chose suffering over being seen as difficult.
When you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous, but yes, absolutely yes.
It's not ridiculous at all. It's actually incredibly common, especially for people who care about their work. But here's what I want to point out to everyone listening right now. Sara didn't have a confidence problem. She had a language problem. She didn't have the words. And when you don't have the words, silence feels like the only safe option. So let's get practical. Sara, your director comes to you on a Friday afternoon and says, I need you to take over the Henderson account starting Monday. What did you used to say?
Of course, I'll make it work.
And what did that cost you?
My entire weekend. And honestly, my respect for myself a little bit.
Okay, so let's rewind. Same situation, but this time you have the language. Try this. I want to make sure I give Henderson the attention it deserves. Right now, I'm carrying X, Y, and Z. Can we figure out together what gets deprioritized so I can do this well?
Oh, that's completely different.
What's different about it?
I'm not saying no, but I'm also not saying yes to everything. I'm making him part of the solution.
Exactly. You're not pushing back, you're pulling him in. Big difference. Now let's talk about disagreeing, because that one is even harder for most people. Sara, has your boss ever presented an idea in a meeting and you thought, this is a terrible idea?
Once or twice.
And what did you do?
Nodded, made a note, died a little inside.
Classic. Okay, here's a phrase that changes everything in that moment. I see where you're going with this. Can I push back on one part? That one phrase does 3 things. It shows you are listening, it signals respect, and it opens the door without kicking it down.
It's so simple. Why did nobody teach me this?
Because most workplaces reward silence and call it professionalism. Let's talk about feedback. Specifically, giving feedback to someone whose work isn't good enough. Sara, have you had to do that?
Yes, and I hated it. I would spend more time softening the message than actually giving it.
What did that sound like?
Something like, this is really good. I love the effort. There's just maybe one tiny thing, and it's probably just my preference. But perhaps you could possibly consider...
And what did they actually hear?
Probably, great job, carry on.
Right, because when you over-soften, the message disappears, and then nothing changes, and you get frustrated, and they have no idea why. Here's the reframe. Honest feedback is not unkind. Unclear feedback is unkind, because it wastes everyone's time. Try this structure instead. It's called the SBI frame: situation, behavior, impact. In yesterday's client presentation, that's the situation, you jumped to solutions before they finished talking, that's the behavior, and I could see them shut down, that's the impact. No judgment, no softening, just what happened and why it matters.
That feels scary, but also respectful, like you're treating the person as an adult.
That's exactly it. Vague feedback is actually disrespectful. It assumes they can't handle the truth. Sara, looking back, what was the real thing holding you back? Because I don't think it was just the words.
Honestly, I think I believed that being agreeable was part of my job. Like, keeping the peace was my responsibility, and saying no or disagreeing meant I was failing at that.
Where do you think that came from?
School, probably. Family. The culture I grew up in. You don't challenge authority, you don't make waves.
And that's important for every listener right now, because many of you come from cultures where direct communication feels dangerous or disrespectful. And I want to acknowledge that. That's real. But here's what's also real. You are operating in workplaces now where silence is misread, where people think you have no opinion, where your career stalls not because you're not smart enough, but because nobody knows what you actually think. Learning to speak up isn't about abandoning your values, it's about translating them into a language your workplace understands.
That's actually exactly what changed for me. I didn't become a different person. I just got better tools.
Sara, what would you tell someone who is exactly where you were 6 months ago?
I'd say your discomfort is not a personality flaw. You just haven't been taught the language yet. And the good news is, language is learnable.
I love that. Language is learnable. That's kind of the whole point of this show. If today's conversation hit close to home, the good news is we go much deeper on all of this in the course. Say It Like You Mean It covers exactly these situations: saying no without damaging relationships, disagreeing with confidence, giving feedback that actually lands with real dialogue, real practice, and language you can use the next day at work. The link will be shortly in the description. First module is free. Go check it out. And if you found this episode useful, press like and write in the comments what is important for you. And who knows, maybe we will have it in our next episode. Share it with one person at work who needs to hear it. That's the best thing you can do for this show. I'm NV. Thank you for listening. Just remember, words well made never fade. See you next week.